All right. Hey, what's up, everybody? This is What Grinds My Gears, episode 5. Correction, I sent out episode 4. It's episode 5. I don't even know how many episodes I did, but this is episode 5, To the Cloud. So I want to thank everybody for joining in. If you're tuning in live, I'm going to have the chat open. We can have a quick chat. I'm not going to take too long, but kind of what I wanted to do is, just go over some of the things that have been occurring over the last couple of days regarding, the Xbox news and this whole cloud initiative that we know Microsoft has been pushing for a long time. Kind of went silent for a couple of years, and now it's rearing its head as games that are utilizing it are coming out. I also wanted to go through just some of the Twitter responses that have been out and some of the feedback to to this news and to this direction that Microsoft has been talking about. But also too, I wanted to explore the other options. It's all about options. Phil always says it's about options, and letting you know what the options are, and actually companies that are doing actually what Microsoft wants to do in the future. So I have a couple of websites, a couple of services. I know PlayStation is one of them, but NVIDIA is another one. And I'm just going to go over their websites and just kind of show you what each one's offering and see where Microsoft will fit in with this when they move forward with this cloud initiative. But I want to thank everybody for joining in. I'm going to have the chat. I'll be poking in and around there. But also what I'm going to do is I'm going to start screen sharing and bouncing around the internet, because that's kind of what I do all day. So, I find I might as well just broadcast and we'll just go around and explore. So feel free to send me your comments and I'll respond. So let's start sharing this screen. So basically what's been going on is there's been a couple of articles, and I know that one of the biggest articles that came out was this one that's kind of triggering a lot of people, and it's actually the first kind of evidence that we have to Microsoft creating a group specifically for cloud gaming. And the article by The Verge by Tom Warren, he's an insider. He's over at The Verge, covers a lot of Windows and Microsoft news. We know from the day one when Satya came in that he was about cloud services and going to the cloud. And, he definitely wants this whole Microsoft's in the background thing. Not necessarily how the previous regime wanted to be up front and center on Microsoft devices. He seems to be more of like Microsoft's a background player. You don't even know you're using a Microsoft product because we're just like, all our services and all our basically our platforms and our the graphics engines in the background, so cloud computing, things like that are all in the background, and a lot of the developers and stuff are using these tools to develop their games. One of the most interesting things that I wanted to point out in this article that came out was the fact right here that Ubisoft's Rainbow Six Siege uses the Azure cloud, and it uses it on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation 4, that's very interesting. Same thing goes with Minecraft, but we knew about Minecraft tapping into Xbox Live, but Microsoft Azure actually uses works on the PlayStation and on the PC. Like, it uses those servers, Microsoft servers, for that game. And that's definitely the kind of position that Microsoft wants to put themselves in, where games are using their services. You didn't know Azure is there. You don't know that stuff. It just works, and it's in the background. And, they get royalties for every game that's sold or every time that service is used. And they kind of get this persistent, income that comes in. And even the mobile game Black Desert uses Azure virtual machines and databases. So there's already come games that are using this cloud vision that Microsoft is, pushing. But I think, the interesting thing is, as we know, for the last couple of years, Microsoft's been not really buying developers, but buying tools like Havok and Simplegon and PlayFab earlier this year. And PlayFab is actually a cloud computing similar to what they have with the Azure. So definitely that's where they're going. The interesting part that I found in this article was that Phil created a team, and Chandri, who's I believe is the guy who said, I'm not sure, but he's like, it's a monster, basically talking about the X. I think that's who that is. Basically said they made a dedicated team to focus on exclusively. They have focused exclusively on the gaming cloud. And the conversation started last summer, and they really started creating the structure of the organization. And he's like, this new division is designed to entice developers and game publishers to use Microsoft's cloud services. And, you know, my response to that is, where's the division to recruit like games, like to get games? Like, it's this service thing that kind of monopolizes a lot of Microsoft's announcements, and it's grinding my gears. It has been for a while. I know I've expressed this on the Planet Xbox, and you know the thing is that this is where they're going, and the challenge that it is as an Xbox gamer is that when they talk about these services, it's wonderful. And I do remember when Xbox Live was a service and they would add value to Xbox Live, and that would benefit the console owner, the console subscriber. And I still feel that Microsoft's vision of reaching out to all these, I forgot what he said. He says 2 million or 2 billion. Yeah, here it is. This is their motto. This is their thing. They always drop this down. They want to reach 2 billion gamers in the world. And my problem is with this statement is that you need to create the content before you start reaching. Like you gotta take care of ground zero before you start reaching out and grabbing 2 billion gamers. We know, like you look at at just sales like of a certain console, the amount the game sells of a most popular game, like say Horizon on the PlayStation. There's 75 million consoles out there, but it's sold 7 million in a year or around that. Like you're not getting 75 million to 75 million sales. If you want to reach 2 billion gamers, like what does that even look like? What is your target audience? 2 billion gamers are not playing Halo. 2 billion gamers are not playing Panda Pop. That is just too ambitious. It's and it kind of goes with how I feel that Microsoft is just throwing everything against the wall now and seeing what sticks. And you could see that with their services. Their services are not consistent. Just now, they're announcing Marvel vs. Capcom is going to be Play Anywhere title. It wasn't a Play Anywhere title at launch. It's not doing so well in sales. And it's like handing out free handouts. It's like, yeah, I guess we'll go to the Windows 10 store, you know? And then games that are not cross-play and cross-buy. And very interesting, that list of 15 games that they showed for indie games, you look at the list and it's like, this is an Xbox Play Anywhere. This one isn't. This one's just on the console. This one is cross-play. This one isn't. It's just very, like, the services are there, but it's not consistent. It's not that you get this game and you know it checks off those 5 boxes. It's like, well, it may be Play Anywhere and may not be cross-play. It may be just on the console. It may be just Windows 10, like Age of Empires. Why is that not a Play Anywhere title? That's just on PC. On Windows 10. So, like, it's really challenging to reach out to 2 billion gamers when there's so much inconsistency right now with your current services. Really what they need to do, and you know, say what you want with Sea of Thieves and State of Decay 2, but they need to be coming out 3- and 4-fold on content if they really want to establish a subscription base. Like, they want to a subscription base. They need to make sure that they have the content, and they got to hit ground zero. And I always use the analogy that, did you care AMC was streaming before Breaking Bad and Walking Dead? Was AMC channel even a thing? Like, they would just show old movies on there until they came out with exclusive content. Now, when you look in comparing between PlayStation View, PlayStation View, Hulu TV, YouTube, TV. When you're looking at these subscriptions now, you're looking to see if AMC is there because you want to make sure that you get The Walking Dead. That's because they made content that's desirable. Now you want to seek out their service. And that's where I fear Microsoft is faltering, that they're rushing this out too much, too ambitious. They need to create the content. And, you know, and you don't, well, we always make it about Xbox versus PlayStation because they're so similar. But you look at PlayStation's catalog of games, and then you look at what they do. Now, if they reached out and said, hey, our games are on all different systems via a streaming service, there will be a desire for that because they have so much content that was only playable there, and it's quality content. And I feel like Microsoft has to do the same with that. And you know, it goes along this. They keep saying this 2 billion gamer thing, and I just think it's very ambitious. And when they keep comparing it to Netflix, that's like layman's terms of this whole streaming thing. And this kind of goes into where I wanted to go with their services and the big statement that Phil made. And I'm jumping out to this one, and I think everybody could see my screen. Yeah. Let's see how the chat's doing. What's up, boys? Hey, Dan. What's up, Finest? I know Finest triggered me. He said, I got to hear you. I was like, I'm not waiting to play an Xbox. I'm going to come on here and do a little demo session because I don't have all that stage time on that Planet Xbox. So I was like, let me utilize my channel and just jump into what I want to kind of go through. So this is the big tweet that he sent out was, I think we'll see the full spectrum of games. They were speaking about the cloud. Full spectrum of games to any device, to high-end games that run to high-end games that run highly responsive compute locally with offloading heavy latency and tolerant workloads. So basically what he's speaking about is a streaming service where Game Pass is in the cloud, and the cloud is basically rendering the game and sending it to any device, not Xbox devices, any device, phones, consoles, Roku boxes, probably anything they'll put an app on. And the other aspect of it is talking about what Crackdown was trying to do, and what they say Sea of Thieves does, where the water physics are being rendered off compute with the Azure servers, and same thing with Crackdown, where the destruction physics is being calculated off the system, and basically you get a better experience locally because the system is not processing all that. It's being offloaded over the internet. So, and you see Tim Dog responded, full games to any devices, and Crackdown 3, what that was supposed to do, and we'll wait to see how that goes at E3. And, and people's comments are usually like, we don't understand it because it just seems like a crapshoot. It's like, well, why can't you do both? And the thing is that you become a jack of all trades and master of none. And the thing that really kind of gets me with this whole why can't they do everything is that really Microsoft has never been successful at doing everything. That's the major issue is here. They don't have a very good track record of doing everything. They do one thing real well, Office. Microsoft Office, and getting into enterprise and getting their computers on Windows. Now, they haven't been successful in getting into schools with Chromebooks being very cheap and stuff like that. And Microsoft has been trying to do that. They try to put out that gimped Windows S. So you use the Windows Store. Problem is the Windows Store is garbage. It's horrible. Nobody's making UWP apps for that thing. Everybody's sticking to the legacy things, and those legacies tend to have corruption, and that's why they want to move it. And Chrome has been secure for schools and everything. So Microsoft is not very successful on that end, but they're successful in getting, Office, OneNote, Cloud, Office into enterprises. But they had that enterprise aspect, and the Xbox was like one of the main things that got them to the consumer. Became cool. They became a consumer device. And that even got further accelerated with the Surface Book and actually having not Surface Book, but the Surface tablet. They became a consumer, but they have never really been that great at doing everything. And when they were focused last generation on being number one in the console space, they were successful. They put all their eggs in the basket and they went after that market and they dominated and they did very well globally. That is the key. They were global. If you want to reach out 2 billion gamers, you're not talking about the West Coast. You're talking about globally. And their global presence is bad. They might be close in North America regarding console sales, but their gaming focus and their gaming mind share in Europe and in Japan, forget about it. But they have no global presence. They tried to do one with the 360, but they are good when they're focused. And when they can, like, oh, they could do everything. Yeah, in a dream world, they could do everything. I don't think that they can spread themselves that thin. They're doing too much, and we're even seeing that with this, with everything, like what I just said with Play Anywhere and all that stuff. The services are not consistent. There's no consistency, maybe in their own games, and they like you know that an Xbox game that they make, a first party game, will have some sort of aspect of buy Play Anywhere, Game Pass day one, but we don't know like. If they sign a timed exclusive, is that timed exclusive going to Game Pass? Or if they partner in getting like what they did with Rise of the Tomb Raider, is that going to be a Game Pass thing? Or do we count that as a Microsoft one? Or is it just the Halo, Gears, Forza, and any games that kind of they do themselves, are those in there? And, those are going to be the questions. Like Microsoft signs an exclusive deal. People are going to be like, oh, is it in Game Pass? And they'll be like, nope, not that one. And again, it leads to so much confusion, too many options. And I think that what Phil's saying is like, you'll see them here, you'll see it over here, you'll see cloud, you'll see them on a device, you'll see them over this and over that. You're like a Kraken, man. You're too many directions. And that's what happened in 2013. And I'm not going to go into 2013, but they were talking too much that they couldn't catch the news because people were judging them before they could even think about what they were trying to say. And the messaging is just confusing. And, and that's the thing. And I made this funny tweet, and I got to promote myself because I was laughing. This was Phil Spencer walking to the Xbox console manufacturing facility. Shut it down, guys. We're going to the cloud. And speaking of the cloud, I wanted to explore the other options of what Microsoft's trying to do with their service, basically turning their console into an eventual Roku box. Like, is going to be a streaming device. Maybe you'll be able to download these things natively and play them on the console. But my whole thing is then, why even sell a console when you're going to have your app everywhere? If I could play it on any device, like if I could play with a Bluetooth controller on a tablet, then like you basically are just cannibalizing any reasoning to own a console. And it's interesting because Sony went the other way, where they put their PlayStation Now service on TVs, where you just had to buy a controller. They had it on PlayStation 3, on the Vita, which I can't believe they took off the Vita. But again, Vita has been dead. They haven't supported that thing. And really, they haven't, they took all of those devices and just focused on PC and on PlayStation 4. And they kind of went the other way. They were reaching out to a more general audience. But I think it's too, you could be ambitious, and it's great to have a goal like that, but you can't forget where you came from, and you can't forget the people that put you on the map. And that's where I fear that, you see it within the Xbox community. There's almost like a civil war going on with people that go, stop panicking, man. That's all right. Stop panicking. And it's like, no, I'm stating fact. Like this is where they're going. I don't like it, but this is what they're doing. And then what happens is that people go, yeah, that's what they're doing. They said it. But then the problem is that then people see E3 and see the Microsoft Theater and go, Oh man, they're gonna PUBG lock it down exclusive. Oh, Rise of the Tomb Raider, that might be an exclusive like the last one. Oh, wait a second, Splinter Cell is rumored. That'll be a bombshell announcement at E3. Phil's gonna lock up Splinter Cell. That will be awesome. And it's like, that's the old Microsoft. That's what you want them to be. That's not them anymore. So you can't be like, yeah, I know they're going to the cloud. They want to be everywhere. And then in the second breath on your other side going, they're going to lock it down exclusives. They're locking it down. Nah, man. In my opinion, and this is my opinion, the only way Microsoft is going to get any type of exclusivity or something to their platforms, and I'm talking about Windows 10 PC and Xbox, is if it's a preview program game like PUBG, or if it's a Game Pass launch exclusive, if it's using that service, if they've done something with one of their physics engines, or it's going to have some sort of hook into their services, into crossplay, something like that. It is not just going to be, I'm dropping the dollar bills right now to keep it off the competition. No, I don't. That's diametric. That's the old school Microsoft. That's not them anymore. So to sit around and have podcasts and explanations of like exclusive lockdowns, we want that to happen. I want that to happen. I think they need to acknowledge the competition. And before I jump into these other things, I'm going to jump into chat. But, one thing I wanted to point out was that Inside Xbox Snooze Fest on Saturday, the only thing that really stood out to me, and you could go back and listen to episode 4, and if you want to skip to it, because I was just basically trying to mess around. I couldn't even figure out how to stream it, but there was nothing even to show, really. And the Sea of Thieves news really didn't do anything to show the gameplay. It was more of just like, yeah, we built a beautiful world. You're gonna have fun. You'll jump and you'll blow, like a sandbox, like a playground. But Seamus Blackley, when he went on there, and I said this last night on the show, like when he went on to that podcast and basically was like, when he went on to the Inside Xbox and said like, I was working on GPU and I came back, and the Xbox was a response to Sony PR. And probably the PR he's speaking about is like Sony's domination globally. And they probably figured we can make a device that competes with them. The Xbox was not made to reach 2 billion gamers. It wasn't made to reach out to the moms and the dads and the grandmas that play games and the kids that develop games. It was built to compete against Sony, not Nintendo, Sony. And he said it, and he said it again. We wanted a fixed PC environment to compete against the PlayStation. That was the vision of Xbox. And people will say, oh, that was then. Things change and all that other stuff. But you want to know what, guys? Nintendo, they fixed what disaster of the Wii U. They put the games that were great and they put them on their Switch. They learned. They're reaching out to a big install base with their mobility. And they even had an answer. They had a 3DS, and they still like sustaining both of them with content. With content. I'll say it again. With content. Luigi's Mansion on the 3DS, they're giving people a reason to own both of them. And Sony playbook, just here are games, boom, 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 exclusive. Here's content you get here first. You feel special. You turn on that console, you play Kirby tomorrow. You can't go play Kirby on your phone. You can't go play Kirby on your iPad. You can't go play that Kirby game on your Xbox, on your PlayStation. You got to play Kirby on the Switch. And that is the reason to buy one. Now, they are very successful in their console market, both of them. And they expected that the Wii is going to surpass it. But Microsoft is grabbing for the cloud, man, with 8 arms and trying to reach out to reach out to 2 billion gamers when they can't handle the 35 million that they got on the Xbox console and keep those people happy. You know, and they make, and I have to say, you know, that thing on E3, that fan fest, I think is excellent. I think it's great. It's about the fans. But they can't just like check into the fans in June and be like, hey guys, yo, remember us? We love you guys. You're our fans. We love you. And then stomp on them throughout the year with all bogus announcements for PC features, and the PC can control your Xbox, but you can't do it between Xboxes with Mixer controller. You can't do, like, you can't crap on them throughout the year or give them things that don't keep them excited throughout the year and get them exclusives and get them big mature games or even cartoon games that are mature. I don't care. Just give me some content that I will like games that are worth a damn. Do that first. Don't just check in June being like, yay, and rub yourself in green goo and hug everybody and take photographs, and then go back to Microsoft headquarters and start going, all right, guys, how can we integrate the PC into that Xbox again? You know, we just hugged about 100,000 people at E3. They love us. All right, they're good. How can we get those PC guys? And, you know, that's how I feel like they do. I feel like, you know, they trickle in all these other announcements, and then E3, they pretend you're your best friend with FanFest. I think it's great, but they need to kind of show that love throughout. And that's how I feel about it. Now I'm going to jump into the chat, see if anybody's saying anything. Probably telling me, be quiet. Oh, man, people will be talking. Here we go. Let's see what they got to say. Oh, man, where's my thing? All right, I'm gonna stop sharing this for a second, and then we're going to jump into the services, and then I'm going to sign off. Here it is. What the hell? Yo, here we go. What's up, guys? Rand, what's up, man? Oh, crap. Just lost it. Anyway, where are we going? Where's Rand? Rand's probably yelling. Rand Stradamus, man. He got all the release dates in his back pocket. He just pulls them out. I think that's what E3 is going to be. It's going to be Rand. They're going to be streaming Rand live on stage, and he's just going to be releasing. He's be showing all the release dates going on. But, you know, anyway, thanks everybody for coming out. It's you know, I love the Xbox. I love what's going on with I think it's exciting, but it's, you know, I just feel like we need a little bit more love. And, you know, and the 2 billion gamers is very ambitious. And I just wanted to kind of go into the other devices. And I've used both of these. And I'm going to share my screen one more time. We're going to go over just the other options that are currently going on and what, you know, Microsoft has to address, because you know what, this Game Pass thing is great, but it is, you know, it is, there's competition, you know, there's competition with everything. Like, you know, you got to see what's going on. Now, I've used this, and I got one of these things, the NVIDIA Shield. I think, yeah, you can see my screen. So GeForce Now, where is it? Right here. It's the GeForce, the game stream that they got going. Game stream is streaming between your computer, but GeForce Now is their streaming service, and it's $7.99 a month. Okay, and let's see. Oh, there we go. It's $7.99 a month, and you could stream to your NVIDIA Shield, and you could play these games here. Now, I'm going to tell you, from using this system, it works really well. It run at basically, if you have a wired connection, you can run these at 1080p, 60 frames per second on the NVIDIA Shield. I would definitely, NVIDIA Shield is an incredible Android device. You could talk into the controller. That's where I got the idea for why Microsoft didn't put a microphone in the controller, because the NVIDIA Shield actually has one. And you could also talk into that, the remote control. And they use Google Assistant now. But it's basically a Google device. It's what a lot of people compare the Switch. I'm sorry, not the Wii, the Switch to, as it has the Tegra chip in it. And you know, it runs a lot of games. It runs some like 360 type games, ports natively, and it also streams games from any NVIDIA PC graphics card to the Shield over your network. But the GeForce Now is basically, it was my first, because I tried OnLive, and OnLive was bad. That was artifacting. It was laggy. on live was not good. So I tried that for a month or so. I did not like it because, I always want to test out and see how these things work because it's interesting, especially to give you usually the first month free. But GeForce Now, this one I tried when I got my Shield about a year ago, and it works great. Like, the quality of the streaming was really good, and it was cheaper because I remember PlayStation Now is $20 a month, and it still is. They've been running promotions, but this one was $7.99 a month, and this is their new controller because the Shield 2, but it's basically the same thing. And that's a touch. That's the triangle is a touchpad, and you could bring up and speak into the controller to get assistance. But look at this. They got, and then what they do, what's interesting is that they have included and then they have paid. So they have games on their service, but you have to buy them. So in addition to subscribing $7.99 a month, you now could buy Outlast 2. Now, if you buy Outlast 2, you get it to stream on your Game Shield, but you also get a Steam code for it, and you could play it on Steam. So you have it natively. If you cancel your service, you still keep the game. So you bought it. So I'll explain that again. You can't just come in here and buy Outlast 2 without subscribing to the service. I don't believe, maybe I'm wrong on that. But when you pay for it, you get the streaming. And yeah, because you get the streaming of it on the Shield, but you also get a Steam code. Now, the ones that say included, those are the ones that are included in your subscription of $77.99, $8 a month, basically. And you could play these games streaming off of your NVIDIA Shield. They got BioShock Remastered. They got Paragon, which that's going away. Let's click on some more. They got a lot of paid, and then his Deus Ex Human Resolution included. And the one thing that you might be noticing with a lot, No Man's Sky paid, and then paid Witcher Game of the Year. One thing you might notice is that they are older games, and that is kind of the thing with this. With these streaming services, is that they are older games, and that's why Microsoft is really doing something different by offering their first-party content day and date with Game Pass. That's actually what put Game Pass kind of relevant, why we're talking about it today, because last year, it was before E3 they announced it, about a year ago, and we weren't talking too much about Game Pass. The games weren't in there. I tried the trial. I was in the preview program. And, there wasn't a lot of content, like a lot of the games I wasn't going to play in there. But when they say they're putting their games day and date in there, and, I looked at some articles, Halo and the next Gears and stuff, it is something that nobody's doing right now. And not even NVIDIA. Like, they're offering, and they're trying to do it by giving you some current games by paying for them, and you get them physically. So you could play them natively on your computer. But also you could play it on the Shield if you have a Shield in another room on a TV. And kind of that's what Shield NVIDIA is going for, is that you could play it on your PC, and then, but wait, you want to sit back and play it on your big screen TV, 4K streaming. Actually, they do that now, I believe, too. The 4K between your computer, if you haven't high enough bandwidth, to kind of break you away from that office setup, that PC gaming setup, and put you on the couch. Kind of give you a console experience with your PC games, either through streaming or through this. So that's kind of their focus. But again, this is only on that device. You cannot do GeForce Now. You can't even do it on your computer. You could only do it on the NVIDIA Shield. And you could also do it on the NVIDIA Shield tablet, which basically is a little less powerful than this, but basically it's the same thing with the NVIDIA app. But you cannot download it on any Android phone. So they're not really going for the big global market with their service, even though their service is really, it's a very good quality. But then they're going for more of, let's break you away from that PC kind of, you're sitting there at the computer and moving to a TV. So that's the one option through this console. And this console, I think this home TV is like $199. Controls are like $60. And that one. And now comes the PlayStation Now one. So PlayStation Now, I subscribe to PlayStation Now, and I know everybody trashes it because it's streaming and stuff like that, and it streams at 720p, 60 frames per second, or the 720p resolution. I don't know how many games was 60 frames when you do the older ones, but it doesn't do 1080p streaming. But it looks good. Like, they look good on your TV. They definitely don't look as super sharp as if you were playing a game natively on your console, whether it's the base PlayStation or the other one. But it looks, it really, they really did a good job of. They just changed the interface of it. But the biggest thing here is the 600 games. They have so many games in there. And what they did was they put all their PlayStation 3 exclusives in there. Their indie exclusives and their PlayStation 3 games. So all the Ratchet and Clanks, all the Uncharted, all the Killzones, Resistance 3. They have Ori. Not Ori. No, they have what is it? The Eco. They have concrete. They have all these that jungle game with the animals that fight in Tokyo Jungle. All weird, like original ones too. But they have a list of all their exclusives and indie exclusives. Then they have a bunch of games on it. And the popular ones here, Red Dead, and they have some old wrestling, but again, they're doing old ones. But this is the big thing they've been doing now, is putting exclusives, and they add about 5 to 6 a month. End of last year, they did 20 games in October. Went on till Dawn came in. Like they've been putting a lot. They got the original Shadow of Colossus on the PlayStation 3. They got all the Fallout. They got Fallout 3. They got all the Fallouts in there now. What they have been doing is taking PlayStation 3 games and upgrading them to PlayStation 4 games, because now you can play PlayStation 4 games on PlayStation now. So they got they got a majority of all the Resident Evils in there. They got Street Fighter, and then they got fun games. And this is the reason why I was getting it too, because we were playing Sonic Generations. You could use 2 controllers, just like the Shield. And again, it's all streaming. So I definitely think, some people, your market may vary on your internet connection. I do a wired connection, and then I also do a wireless connection, and they run fine. I don't run into a lot of hiccups. It saves like in the cloud, which is pretty cool. So you could just pick up a game wherever you are. The other cool thing is that if the game's on sale, like say Knack was like $5, you could download Knack on your computer. You could buy the PlayStation version of Knack, and then you could take the save that you had on PlayStation Now and transfer it to your device, and vice versa. So so it kind of gives you that kind of mobility. If you start a game somewhere, you could play it somewhere else. And I've tried this on the PC. It works well on the PC. I've used it on my i5, a kind of Surface type tablet, and then on my gaming PC. It really doesn't matter. It has to do more with the internet connection. But the interface has definitely improved. They definitely, when you go through it now on the PlayStation, they give you a little trailer of the game. They tell you about it. And they have games that work online, like Killzone Shadowfall. Like you could play games online. I was playing Split Second. Just jumped into that game, and I played that online. So you can even play games online through this, which I thought that would just break it. But it works. And, it gets the job done. Like, you'll play the games, you'll get through them. Like, but if you want the crispness, HDR, and all that other stuff, then we come into Xbox Game Pass. And that's where the native play on your device really shines, because you get the benefits of playing it natively using the hardware that you have. And that is one difference that, you could compare it to NVIDIA Shield, where, you get the Steam code, so you could play it on your monster PC, but then you could also stream it off of their PCs. And with this one, actually, you download it, and that's the biggest thing. So there are 2 huge moves that they made, was just making their exclusive games day one, which the other services do not do. And secondly, making you have the games downloaded on the native console. And if they keep that as the part of the console, I think Game Pass has been the biggest kind of thing for the fans of the console. Like, I think it was like the first big benefit that we had. Like, cross-play and cross-buy is nice if you have a gaming PC, but Game Pass, I think, was finally a thing for the fans. But now would for the core, the 35 million, the Xbox owners. But now, instead of taking this and running with it and, taking those games, but let's get some more deals. And I'm thinking E3 is going to be a lot of Game Pass exclusive or Game Pass, launch exclusive. I think they're going to be doing a lot of partnerships and a lot of deals with that. But yeah, Rand is delaying all those the PlayStation games. He just cast the big cloud over PlayStation. He's delaying everything. Back to delay station. That's what he's delaying it all. But the thing with with this is that it really is. It was a step in the right direction for the console fans, for the people. Why do you buy an Xbox? Answer that question. Well, Game Pass is there. I could play these games natively, and work on that, and work on building the content. Those 3 games are nice, but they need to make sure that content is being delivered. And the other thing that kind of is counterintuitive with Game Pass is because they're kind of pushing a lot of the newer games to keep the content fresh. Like City Skylines, I think, came out the end of last summer. But keeping it fresh, it's going to make people a little hesitant to just go out and flat out pay $60 and buy a game that might show up in Game Pass. Now, I'm not talking about their exclusives because they already committed that. And now that's a decision that you need to make at launch, whether you're going to pay $10 or you're going to go do $60 down payment, pay $60 for it and own it. But I'm talking about the other games, like a City Skyline, like a Lucky's Tales. Those kind of games, and I don't think anybody ran out and, but people bought Lucky's Tales, but still, just that it gives you a little hesitation now because they're kind of keeping it newer. And my opinion is I wish they would just come out and not make this Game Pass this unknown thing, and we find out 2 days before what's going to Game Pass. Like if they kind of say, typically a game will go into Game Pass in 3 months or something like that, you could easily make that decision rather than buy something and then 3 months from now it shows up in Game Pass and now you're double dipping because you subscribed and now you have the game natively. Yeah, some people will say whatever, I got to play it first, but it does add a little kind of you don't just want to jump in and pre-order something, go, I'm gonna get this when it might be going to Game Pass in a few months, and if you could wait, you could wait. So, that comes to the conclusion of just the review of these online services, with these subscription models. And, the thing that I was going back to with this Game Pass thing was that this was a real good win for the fans. I think for the Xbox core console gamers, the paid subscribers of the console, this was something that was different, unique to their platform. Same thing like EA Access. But, recently now talking about we want it everywhere on any device. And again, they keep reaching they're trying to do too many things at once. And I said this, I don't know where I said it, but I was like, you cannot grow when you're shrinking. The console is not selling as much as the other consoles. It's going to trail the Switch later on this year or early next year. You gotta draw attention and mind share to your console. And it seems like whenever something is happening, they always just kind of go into that Nicolas Cage kind of that cloud thing with the rainbows and stuff. And they lose focus. They forget who their audience is. They forget who they're talking to. And that's kind of where I stand in this thing, that I feel like there's just some sort of disconnect. And I'm just going to stop sharing my screen now. But there's just a disconnect here where I just feel like they don't really know they forget who they're talking to. E3, I think they know. That's where they know who their audience is and stuff. But I feel like when they get onto all these other things, they keep talking crazy. 2 billion gamers. What does that even look like? And I come back to that. I'm like, they keep saying that, 2 billion gamers. You imagine that's your job. It's come in and Satya and you're Phil. It's Yeah. Your goal is to reach the 2 billion gamers in 5 years. What the hell does that look like? You're not going to do that by just selling consoles. And I think that's the problem. They have this ambition of reaching to so many gamers, being the messiah of gaming, and they know they're never going to achieve that with just doing a console. So they're slowly backing away. And it brings me to my tweet of just like shut it down. Like, they want to be everywhere. They want to be the app, the Xbox app. Who even knows if they're going to be called Xbox? Maybe it'll be called Microsoft Gaming app. And they'll just be put on every device. It will be the Xbox app that's already on your computer. It will be the Xbox app that you could download on your phone. It will be through that Xbox app, through the Mixer stream, through that stuff. And that's what it is. And as you see, that there's competition out there. And it's already there. And PlayStation could just improve on PlayStation Now. They could allow you to download those games natively on PlayStation 5, because I noticed that they're keeping the PlayStation 3 games there. And I think that's the whole reasoning why Sony is so into these remasters and reboots and making them PlayStation 4 compatible, because those PlayStation 3 games are locked away in the cell processor. They're not going to work on any architecture to make cell processor games compatible unless they do some miracle with the PlayStation 5. So them bringing those games to the PlayStation 4 ensures that they are future-proofing their console. Just like why Xbox invested all that stuff in the emulator to make 360 work in there, they're making sure their games carry forward. And that's Sony's way, is just trying to make them PlayStation 4 compatible and remastering them. And, you get the benefit of getting the updated graphics and stuff, because that is one area I think where backwards compatibility falters. And Microsoft seems to be, again, taking their time. Only 11 games, 360, Xbox One X enhanced, when the emulator is doing all the work. No developer. Phil said it himself when somebody asked about Fable. They're like, the studio's gone. Who did this miracle that Fable Anniversary works? And basically, Phil was like, it's not us, it's the emulator. The emulator does it. And they're like, you're a genius. And my response was, why the hell is there only 11 games in there? And so, I still going to keep it short. I rambled on. Let me jump on the chat. And we're going to see how it goes. But, yeah, I know. Yeah, we're going. They have the vision of 2 billion games by 2020. Yeah. And the last thing that I wanted to make a point is that going into this generation, everybody thought consoles were dead. And what Sony did and what Nintendo's proving is that consoles are not dead. But, so there is no reason to transcend gaming that Microsoft wants to do. And I feel like Microsoft is really kind of, I look, and the other thing too is I go back to the last thing is about them just not being successful services wise and stuff like that. Look at Zune Pass. And that was the last thing I wanted to bring up. The Zune Pass was its own thing. Like, nobody else ever had the subscription model. iTunes, you had to buy it for your iPod. Microsoft was the only one that allowed you to subscribe and buy music before Spotify, before Google Music, before Google Play Music, before Pandora, before it was Zune Pass. And they had a device that it worked exclusively on with that pass. Now, music is, I know, a total different industry with licenses and stuff, but they couldn't compete with Spotify. They couldn't compete because they tried and tried and tried and really didn't support that service. Like, they dropped it, and it was getting better, and they were integrating it with Xbox, and they could have done something, and they never updated the Android app. They made it for Windows Phone, and they dropped it. And I just hope that Game Pass is not something that they're trying to do, and then Google comes along and Google's like, and here's our console, and here's our subscription for games, and guess what? You get to keep a game every month. And they're like, huh? Yeah, you get to keep a game. If you cancel our service, you keep a game. Pick a game a month that you put to your library. And somebody will come in, take Microsoft's idea and run with it. And Microsoft will be like, oh, well, let's try something else. Let's do watches. Let's do, something else. Let's do headphones or something. And it's just, and I feel like we've seen that so many times with Zoom Pass, with what was their watch called? Like the Fitbit just beat them to it, and Samsung beat them to it. With Windows Phone, they came in. There are just so many poor, even, and with the phone, they laughed at iPhone, and they didn't, and they didn't come back with it. And it's just they did fail on a lot of things and services and stuff. And I just find that that they might be reaching too much, and I think that they should really hone in on their core, focus on the content, break down, like, get those developers, get those exclusives, make their console, like, build that, and then reach out to everybody. I'm not saying don't, like, if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do, but be sure you take care of the number one, the people that own your console, because those are the guys that are going to spread the word. Those are the guys that are going to get that message. Those are the guys that are going to buy 4 and 5 devices that you support so they can play their games on the go. But you got to make the content worthwhile. Then we're going to see what Sea of Thieves, and we're going to see what State of Decay 2, and whatever Crackdown comes out, we'll see. But we're going to see at E3 what new content. And I'm thinking Sega and Capcom, those kind of meetings are to try to get their portfolios. But again, we don't want old games on there. It's the new games. And I'm going to be really surprised to see a third-party publisher, a multi-platform game releasing on Game Pass. I think that will cannibalize sales of their game. I don't think that they would do such a thing. If you could buy it for $10 on Game Pass, because not even EA does that. EA makes you basically have a trial of 10 days. So, hey, Merrick, what's up? Sorry, man. You go back and listen. I'm going to be heading out now. But, we were just talking about the cloud and all that other stuff. Rand came in, delayed the PlayStation 4 lineup again, and, cast the Black Cloud on PlayStation. And, it was cool, man. But, thank you again for this impromptu kind of grinds my gears, episode 5, to the cloud. I'll probably be doing another one in a few days. I'll see what topics go. I want to be more consistent with it, but I'm just putting as much content as I can out. Hit me up over on Twitter at Jez7780 over there, and then subscribe and you like the video. Whatever you guys want to do. I appreciate you guys coming out. And I'm going to stream some VR stuff. I'm still learning all the streaming stuff, play some games. I like to do some sort of like commentary over games as I play them, make it more entertaining than just watching the play. Oh, and check out Kid Smooth going against Bloodborne. Bloodborne, because I've been doing that, and it's been inspiring me to play. And check it out, guys. I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks again. Signing out.